You guys can keep asking queries as well, and I have also started recording the session. Okay. So today's main topic is scanning. Scanning. Okay. Wait a second. More people joining. Okay, let's admit everyone. Okay, right. So today's our main topic is scanning session, right? So scanning में first thing we'll have to decide कि स्कैन हमें क्या करना है. वी नीड अ सर्टेन क्राइटेरिया टू स्कैन द स्टॉक्स बिकॉज देर आर सो मेनी स्टॉक्स लाइक अराउंड आपका टोटल स्टॉक मार्केट में देर आर अराउंड 6,000 स्टॉक्स, राइट. एंड खाली एनएससी में देर आर मोर देन 2,000 स्टॉक्स. सो स्कैनिंग इज नॉट जस्ट अबाउट कि आई विल बी गोइंग थ्रू चार्ट्स, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट चार्ट्स की बस अराउंड 1,000 2,000 वट एवर चार्ट्स को हमने देखा एंड जो हमारे को पसंद आया विल पिक अप दैट स्टॉक. सो स्कैनिंग इज नॉट अबाउट दैट. स्कैनिंग इज अबाउट यू हैव अ सर्टेन क्राइटेरिया जो आपके माइंड में है, मे बी अ सेटअप दैट यू प्रेफर टू ट्रेड और दैट काइंड ऑफ क्राइटेरिया, राइट. सो उसके लिए हमें पहले एक हमारे पास एक क्लियर क्राइटेरिया होना चाहिए. लाइक इफ आई शेयर माई क्राइटेरिया, सो मेरे पास फर्स्ट क्राइटेरिया क्या है कि आई लुक फॉर लीनियरिटी इन चार्ट्स. आई नीड लीनियर ट्रेंड, लाइक देयर शुड बी अ प्रॉपर अप ट्रेंड इन चार्ट्स. मैं किसी भी एक रैंडम पॉइंट पे किसी भी चार्ट को पिकअप नहीं करूंगा, किसी भी रैंडम पॉइंट पे बाय नहीं करूंगा. आई नीड अ सर्टेन क्राइटेरिया कि चार्ट में फर्स्ट क्राइटेरिया इसकी चार्ट में लीनियरिटी होनी चाहिए, एक प्रॉपर अप ट्रेंड होना चाहिए एंड एटलीस्ट शॉर्ट टर्म मूविंग एवरेजेस के ऊपर होना चाहिए, राइट. एंड व्हाट आर माय शॉर्ट टर्म मूविंग एवरेजेस जिनको मैं यूज करूंगा आर जस्ट 10 एंड 21 सिंपल, जो कि मैं ट्विटर पे बताता रहता हूँ, 10 21 50 एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, राइट. सो फर्स्ट इज लीनियरिटी दैट आई एम लुकिंग फॉर इन अ ट्रेंड. लीनियर ट्रेंड होना चाहिए, एक बहुत ज़्यादा चॉपी सा चार्ट नहीं होना चाहिए. इफ आई शो यू द एग्जांपल ऑफ अ चॉपी चार्ट, सो इट शुडंट बी लाइक दिस, राइट. आई नीड अ प्रॉपर दिस काइंड ऑफ ट्रेंड वेयर जिसमें बीच बीच में कंसोलिडेशन हो रहा है, उसके बाद प्राइस में कंटिन्यूशन आ रही है, राइट. सो दैट इज द फर्स्ट क्राइटेरिया दैट चार्ट शुड बी लीनियर. सेकेंड इज let's say second is what is this. First was linear, right, and second criteria is like what kind of setups I trade. Like जैसे कि it could be a VCP, it could be a inside bars, or it could be gap up, right. So maybe 2 3 setups prefer जो आप प्रेफर करोगे, राइट. कोई प्रेफर करेगा कि एक सिंपल हॉरिजॉन्टल लाइन से ब्रेकआउट आए, कोई पुल बैक्स प्रेफर करेगा, कोई एम ए क्रॉस ओवर रेफर करेगा, राइट, प्रेफर करेगा, राइट. एंड आई प्रेफर VCP इनसाइड बार्स गैप अप्स, राइट. दीज आर द माई काइंड ऑफ सेटअप्स जो कि मैं एक सर्टेन स्टॉक में लिखूंगा, देखूंगा, राइट. एंड थर्ड इज लाइक फर्स्ट यू नीड अनदर क्राइटेरिया दैट यू नीड कि आपका जो एक पूरा स्टॉक यूनिवर्स है ऑफ अराउंड 2,000 प्लस स्टॉक्स का, उसको पहले एक स्मॉल यूनिवर्स में कैसे कन्वर्ट करना है. दैट शुड बी द थर्ड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, राइट. कि उसको एक छोटे से उसमें कैसे कन्वर्ट करना है. लाइक यू कैन हैव अ कि मिनिमम प्राइस, मिनिमम मार्केट कैप, वट एवर द क्राइटेरिया कुड बी, कि आप उस इस लिस्ट को छोटा कैसे. लाइक वॉल्यूम इज अनदर क्राइटेरिया, राइट. सर्किट स्टॉक्स इफ यू डोंट वांट टू अवॉइड, इफ यू वांट टू अवॉइड द सर्किट स्टॉक्स बिकॉज अब उनको ट्रेड करना काफ़ी डिफिकल्ट होता है, राइट. सो वो हम सब अवॉइड करेंगे, राइट. सो माई पर्सनल प्रेफरेंस इज लाइक कि आई यूज 2 3 क्राइटेरियाज जो कि ट्रेडिंग व्यू में ही है. एंड आई ऑल्सो शो यू कि मैंने कैसे बनाया है. वो सिंपल सा एक तो मेरा 4% स्कैन है, दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन द प्रति बोंदेज 4% क्राइटेरिया, राइट. कि एक दिन में एक कोई सर्टेन स्टॉक अगर 4% का मूव देता है, राइट. सो बिकॉज वाई द 4% क्राइटेरिया इज जस्ट इट्स अ क्राइटेरिया फॉर अ रेंज एक्सपेंशन, कि मे बी कोई स्टॉक एक सर्टेन रेंज में था एंड वहां से उसमें एक रेंज एक्सपेंशन आ रही है, राइट. सॉरी फॉर दिस, अदर पीपल आर ऑल्सो ज्वाइनिंग, राइट. सो एक रेंज एक्सपेंशन आ रही है उसमें. सो वो एक 3 4 5% काइंड ऑफ मूव से हमेशा स्टार्ट होती है, मोस्टली बिकॉज इफ यू लुक एट स्टॉक्स, लाइक मेनी स्टॉक्स, इफ यू लुक एट मेनी स्टॉक्स दे आर जस्ट लाइक 3 4% काइंड के उसमें 2 3% काइंड के रेंज में ट्रेड करते हैं फॉर सम टाइम, स्पेशली द good momentum stocks if you guys see that. So that's why I use a 4% criteria, and that also I have built in the trading view itself. इसमें सिंपल सा क्राइटेरिया है. you'll go to technical this filter में जाओगे and you'll find something called change percentage. उसमें you'll have to do is above or equal 4, right? So I'm looking for at least a 4% move, so इसको change percent को I'll keep it 4. Next thing I'll be looking at is like price. Price is something like कि minimum price stock कितना करना है, like I don't want to trade any penny stocks, right? So penny stocks like आपका एक 2 रुपए का स्टॉक हो गया, 10 रुपए का, 12 रुपए का स्टॉक हो गया, I don't want to trade those kind of stocks. Another is you can add a volume criteria, because you'll see market इतना बड़ा है, उसमें बहुत सारे stocks है जो कि बहुत लो वॉल्यूम पे ट्रेड करते हैं, एंड दे आर नॉट रियली ट्रेडेबल, लो प्राइस्ड एंड लो वॉल्यूम स्टॉक्स, तो वी वांट टू अवॉइड दैट. सो उसके लिए मिनिमम वॉल्यूम क्राइटेरिया व्हाट आई हैव केप्ट इज 100,000, जो कि मैंने वॉल्यूम रखी है. यू गाइज कैन ऑल्सो कीप आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस इफ यू हैव एनी डाउट. ओके, सो यहाँ पे बिकॉज अनदर थिंग, आपको मार्केट ब्रेड्थ देखना भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, राइट? सो आपने ये 3 क्राइटेरियाज तो रख ही लिए. अनदर क्राइटेरिया कि उस दिन मार्केट ब्रेड्थ कैसी है.
Is this paid trading view or normal?
No, it's a normal one. It's not a paid one, it's a normal one. You can also build this in the free version as well. सब कुछ अवेलेबल है फ्री वर्जन में. द ओनली इशू इज विद द फ्री वर्जन इज दैट यू डोंट हैव वॉच लिस्ट, मोर वॉच लिस्ट, राइट? एंड लाइक you can only add 30 stocks in a watch list. Otherwise most and you can't add alerts, more than one alerts, you can't keep more than one alerts, right? So आपका ये फ्री वर्जन में भी अवेलेबल है दिस फिल्टर क्राइटेरिया, राइट? So 4% I explained कि this tells me about the range expansion, right? So coming back to market breadth, that is again a very important point कि आप हर किसी मार्केट सिचुएशन में ट्रेड नहीं कर सकते सेम सेटअप को, राइट? लाइक on Friday market fell, right? So you can clearly see the list has come down to 57, otherwise it's normally around 150, 120, 130 stocks in any given day, right? If I show you the even the market breadth sheet as well, right? So ये थोड़ा एक broader universe cover करता है because इसमें एक volume criteria नहीं लगा है. So you can clearly see from last 2-3 days the number of stocks that are up 4% are continuously coming down, right? So ये मेरा अपना bread sheet है and it's easy to make. I'll make a video about it in 2-3 days. I'll upload the video कि how you can make this simple kind of bread sheet. So इसमें criteria क्या है अपने पास? How many stocks are up 4% in a day? How many are down 4%? How many are up 20% in 5 days? And similarly down 20% in 5 days. How many stocks are above the 10-day moving average, which tells us about the very short term strength, right? Because 10-day moving average is like price closely, बहुत ज़्यादा closely follow करता है 10-day moving average को, right? So the higher the number of stocks above the 10-day moving average tells us the market strength in the very short term, right? Then we have the 21-day number of stocks above the 21-day moving average, right? So again it tells us about a kind of a medium, like एक महीने का ट्रेंड किस टाइप का हो गया, like how the stocks are behaving. Again the higher the number the better, means the trend is stronger, right? Similarly the 50-day and the 200-day. So 200-day tells you about the overall strength of the market कि आपका overall market किसी भी टाइप के एक रन में, लाइक बुल रन में और द बियर रन में, आपका पूरा मार्केट इन्वॉल्व है या फिर नहीं है कि सिर्फ कुछ सर्टेन स्टॉक्स ही ऊपर जा रहे हैं, राइट? सो दैट्स वाई द 200-day इज ऑल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड प्लस द 52-week हाई एंड द 52-week लोज. एंड ये सिर्फ एनएससी को ट्रैक करता है, सो इट्स नॉट अकाउंटिंग द बीएससी वंस, राइट? एंड अदर आर दीज नॉर्मल क्राइटेरियाज की नियर द स्टॉक्स नियर द 52-week हाई and the percentage of stocks about 20, and these are just in the graph forms, otherwise this only. So one thing is clear, from last few days you can clearly see the shakeouts have increased a lot from last 2-3 weeks. Again if you see suddenly on 8th Feb, right, जो हमारा Friday था, उसको the number of stocks above 4% suddenly went from 221 to 131, right? So almost सौ stocks का drop आ गया इसमें, almost, right? एंड सिमिलरली सेकेंड फेब को भी एकदम से ड्रॉप आया था, फर्स्ट फेब्रवरी को भी इसमें एकदम से सडनली एक ड्रॉप आया था, राइट? सो व्हाट हैपेंस इन दिस सिचुएशन, जब इसमें सडनली ड्रॉप आता है, इज दैट कि इट टेल्स यू दैट ओवरऑल द मार्केट इज काइंड ऑफ चॉपी, थोड़ा वीक हो रहा है. लाइक ऑन 23rd जनवरी एज वेल इट सडनली फैन लॉट, जब हमारा वो शेक आउट आया था, एक बड़ा सा शेक आउट आया था, राइट? सो इंक्रीजिंग नंबर ऑफ डेज की जहाँ पे the number of stocks up 4% is going down means कि वो थोड़ा environment थोड़ा ज़्यादा choppy हो गया है, बहुत ज़्यादा dips आ रही है उस environment में. So that's why it's important कि ये हमारे एक नंबर या तो stable रहे या बढ़ता रहे, right? So if I go back, so this number was kind of very stable for some time, right? सो उसके बाद बीच बीच में डिप्स आते रहे, एंड बिकॉज नॉर्मल किसी दिन स्टॉक नीचे जाते, किसी दिन अप जाते, राइट? एंड द नंबर ऑफ स्टॉक्स डाउन 4%, ये भी इंक्रीज होता हुआ अगर दिख रहा है, दैट मीन्स अगेन देयर इज अ वीकनेस इन द मार्केट, राइट? एंड वन थिंग अगेन दैट इज इंक्रीजिंग द number of stocks down 20% in 5 days. So you can clearly see for the most of the time, if I see for last few months, right? If I see for last few months, it has been around 1023 at most, right? At most 3. And suddenly from last few days it has been consistently increasing, maybe because of the result season, कि कुछ stocks में अगर अच्छा result नहीं आया तो they are going down. So the number of stocks down 20% in 5 days is again increasing, right? So these are the criteria. First you have to specify कि what you are actually looking for, like जैसे linearity in the trend, I am looking for linearity in the trend. What kind of setup I'd be looking for, a VCP kind of setup, a gap up setup, and inside bar kind of setup I'll be looking for. And what's the criteria, आपका एक उस पूरी लिस्ट को शॉर्टन करने के लिए what's the criteria, like कि minimum volume कितना होना चाहिए, right? And volume, avoid circuit stocks and all of that, right? So all of that. So coming back to, so we'll start with the 4% scan. So these two, I'll only do 2-3 scans because again आपका 4% में काफ़ी अच्छे stocks cover हो जाएगा, because again our criteria is to pick the ones in momentum, राइट? सो फर्स्ट थिंग इज क्लियर कि जो हमारे स्टॉक्स मोमेंटम में कंसोलिडेशन दे रहे हैं, और मे बी देर इज अ रेंज एक्सपेंशन हैपनिंग, सो वी आर ओनली फोकसिंग ऑन दोज काइंड ऑफ स्टॉक्स. सो राइट, सो फर्स्ट क्राइटेरिया इज 4% स्कैन, राइट? सो सिंपल सा तरीका है स्कैन करने का, वी गेट मेनी नेम्स हियर, एंड उससे हम सिलेक्ट करेंगे उन स्टॉक्स को, एंड वील कीप देम एडिंग इन द वॉच लिस्ट. सो आई ऑलरेडी एडेड 2-3 नेम्स इन द वॉच लिस्ट, राइट? सो एक हमारी ब्रॉडर वॉच लिस्ट बनेगी, उससे देन विल सेलेक्ट फ्यू नंबर ऑफ स्टॉक्स जो कि हमारी एक्शनेबल एक सेपरेट वॉच लिस्ट होगी. विल ऐड दोज नेम्स इन द अदर वॉच लिस्ट जो हम कंसिडर करेंगे बाय करने के लिए, राइट? सो अगेन वन क्वेश्चन अगेन कम्स इन माई माइंड, जो काफ़ी लोगों ने पूछा है कि हाउ मेनी स्टॉक्स यू कैन बाय इन अ डे, राइट? इफ यू हैव लेट्स से 20-30 stocks in a watch list, how many you can actually buy, right? So that depends on the person to person, कि with how many positions you are comfortable, with how many positions you can easily manage and you can easily get good returns, how much cash you have available, and what's the market situation, right now, right? So abhi currently agar market situation weak hai, तो it doesn't make sense to add too many positions, because most of them will hit your stop loss, again थोड़ा सा लॉस हो जाएगा उसमें, फिर उसको रिकवर करने में थोड़ा दोबारा टाइम लगता है. So it doesn't make sense if the market situation is bad. It doesn't make sense to add too many positions. Plus, if you are already holding 8-10 positions, right, for a swing trader, like you are already holding 8-10 position, it doesn't make sense to add any more positions, right? So even though you are getting good setups, the only thing that you can do is replace a laggard that you already have. सिर्फ आप उसको replace कर सकते हो. You can't you shouldn't be adding too many stocks again, like you, if you are already holding good 8 to 10 names, it doesn't make sense to add more. Instead, if your 8 to 10 stocks are performing good, so उसमें जो आपकी best performance है, look for pyramiding up, right? If you're comfortable with pyramiding, look for pyramiding up, right? Plus, let's say if you don't have too many positions and you have the space for let's say 2-3 positions, so जो आपके क्राइटेरिया में सबसे पहले ट्रिगर होगा, राइट? सो लेट्स से यू गॉट 20 स्टॉक्स इन योर वॉच लिस्ट, एंड उसमें से भी आपको 2-3 जो सेटअप सबसे अच्छा लगेगा, उसमें यू कीप द जीटीटी. सो जिसमें सबसे पहले आपका एंट्री ट्रिगर होता है, दोज आर द स्टॉक्स दैट यू शुड बी getting into at that point, right? So coming to the what is the scanning criteria at mostly, actually what I'm looking in the chart, a good entry point, because that is the question, right? So first यहाँ से हमारे को क्या पता लगेगा, the number of stocks are already down to 57, right? So यहाँ से एक चीज़ हमें क्या पता लगेगी कि these were the stronger ones, कि जिस दिन market down गया they still held their ground, right? So that is one good thing. So coming to first stock, right, Aarti Industries, right? So setup में first thing what I look for is setup is like as I said कि linearity, trend में linearity है, the stock is above the 10-day moving average, 20-day. There was one shakeout that happened here, this shakeout, but it recovered very quickly, and after that it has been consolidating since then, right? But यहाँ पे एक प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि द ओवरऑल सेक्टर इज नॉट दैट स्ट्रॉन्ग, या सो मैं ये क्राइटेरिया डालना भूल गया. सो अनदर क्राइटेरिया इज स्ट्रॉन्ग सेक्टर, बिकॉज देन ओनली यू विल गेट द बेस्ट नेम्स. कि अगर आपका पूरा सेक्टर मूव कर रहा है तो मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टॉक्स इन दैट सेक्टर विल ऑल्सो मूव, राइट. So strong, there should be the strong sector as well, right. So इसमें कुछ खास प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, so we can also keep it in the watch list. And but I don't see a good entry point here. Maybe we can enter once it crosses this level, right. We can enter at that point as well. But again, as I said, ki we don't have a strong sector, although there is volume coming in. The results were also good, so there this was a good earnings reaction as well, right. Plus the above 10 and 21. And if I want to buy, I'll just simply wait for a breakout from here. But again, we have a list of 57 stocks. Let's see if we can get better names or not. So currently, for now, I'll be skipping this name. Second, if you go to Ambuja, right. So again, as I said, ki trend में थोड़ी linearity आ गई, right. So because it was in a very long consolidation from a very long time, you can clearly see this long consolidation, right. But from last few months, if you see, the whole cement sector started picking up. पूरे सेक्टर ने मूव देना शुरू किया. एंड इट ऑल्सो स्टार्टेड मूविंग अप विद ओकेजनल पुल बैक्स हैपनिंग टुवर्ड्स द 20 मूविंग एवरेज. अगेन दिस टुवर्ड्स ब्रोक द 21 एंड उसके बाद एकदम से स्ट्रॉन्ग मूव आया एंड स्मॉल फ्लैग काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन और अ वेरी स्मॉल रेंज की उसके बाद उसने ब्रेकआउट दिया. प्लस there was a good earnings reaction as well on this candle, if you see, combined with good volume. And plus, on a weak day, the stock gave a breakout from this small range, and plus there was volume as well, right. So maybe it looks like it's little late कि इसने already breakout दे दिया है, right. But it's still not very far. If you see, it's not like कि up 20% kind of that, right. So maybe it will give a small pullback. If the market is still weak, maybe it will give a small pullback, maybe it will consolidate, or maybe it will go up from here. So this is one stock that I would consider to enter. So I'll do is just simply I'll add it to the watch list, right. So currently अभी हमारी एक broader सी watch list बन रही है. उसके बाद we'll only picking the actionable names जहाँ पे आपका एक entry बिल्कुल perfect entry है आपके लिए with the minimum risk, right. So coming to the next name, Polo Pipes again. Here again there was an event, right. So I think so some fund bought it, right. So maybe that was the something news like that. Another thing, it is in a broader consolidation. If you see, from a very long time it's in a broader consolidation. But here again the problem is like the sector is not in a very strong swing right now, right. So if you look at Astral or the Prince Pipes and all of those, so they are not doing really that well price wise, right. So there are other sectors like your oil and gas energy and the PSUs, and those are doing well relatively as compared to the this sector. So again, एक दिन में बहुत ज़्यादा strong move आ गया. There's no proper entry right now at this point, so I'll just skip it, right. Another ASAL, right. So again, it might be coming into your mind कि 4% अगर हम criteria ले रहे हैं, 4% और more than 4%, तो already stock में उतना breakout आ चुका होगा, right. So that is a valid point, but you can also run this scan during the day. Let's say when the market opens, let's say you give 15-20 minutes to the market, and you can then do the scan one time at that time, and after that when the market closes you can also do the scan again at that time, right. So जहाँ पे range expansion is just beginning, we are looking for those kind of setups, right. So इधर already range expansion हो चुका है, there was a big consolidation already going on, right. And then the results came, the earning reaction was not that great, but again it was not that bad, because उसके बाद जल्दी recover हो गया stock and then gave a strong breakout with good increasing volume, right. So again it's a not good entry here, so we'll skip it. Next, if we see, this was the demerger part of the demerger, right. So this is kind of a your IPO based breakout. Again, this is at a very good entry point, so I would like to consider this stock. So हम क्या करेंगे, simple watch list में डालेंगे. Now I'll explain why this is a good tradable name, maybe a good entry point at this point. First of all, एक पूरा आपका IPO base बना है. And what is your IPO base? Given the stock lists, maybe after that what the stock does is that stock goes down and it again comes up, and finally it crosses the listing day, right. So जब आपका वो एक पूरा बेस के बाद एक ब्रेकआउट देता है, that is your IPO base breakout. So same thing happened here. Due to after the demerger, the stock kept on falling consistently for many days since, and that was combined with very low volume, right. So maybe because of the selling थोड़ा fund sell करे होगे, maybe variety of reasons, we don't need to get into that, right? So वहाँ से recovery आई, and what the stock did, and also started forming the 10 and 21 day moving average, and वहाँ से क्या हुआ, आपका एक lower high and lower low formation start हो गया, your simple lower high and lower low formation started after that, plus there was the IPO based breakout as well at this point. The only issue is, I think so, this is in the circuit stock, no, it's not in the circuit stock category, okay, so it's a 10% circuit stock, so it's a good one, right? So उसके बाद क्या हुआ, यहाँ से breakout आया and it again retested, right? So again here retesting हुई है, plus it reversed from the 10 day moving average, plus the your IPO base breakout का जो आपका resistance था वहाँ से इसने reverse मारा है, plus combined on a day when the overall market was weak, it closed green, it closed up 4.76%, right? Plus there was a little bit volume expansion as well. So if I want to, let's say if I want to enter this stock right now, so I have a simple rule, I have a simple criteria, I can simply, let's say, keep the stop loss around the low of the stock, और मे बी थोड़ा सा और कंसोलिडेट होता है, इसके बाद इस सर्टेन रेंज से अगर बाहर आता है, so that could be another entry point, right? So I'll keep telling the entry point as well. Wait a second, or more people are joining in. Okay, right? So as I was explaining कि यहाँ पे IPO बेस्ड ब्रेकआउट हुआ, उसके बाद उसका रीटेस्ट हुआ, एंड इट ऑल्सो रिवर्स्ड फ्रॉम द 10 day moving average as well, right? So I'll add it in the watch list again. This one again, if you see, there's no linearity, proper linearity. The overall stock is very choppy. See, look at the VIX, right? So ये भी आपको बताता है कि अगर आपका स्टॉक का एक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक कैसा है, आपका एक स्टॉक का मीन्स आपका स्टॉक पास्ट में कैसा बिहेव किया है, right? Although that changes and that change gives us the best opportunity, but if you see the past of the stock, so it gives these kind of wild swings, जो कि आपका एक, जिसमें आप एक क्लोज स्टॉप लॉस के साथ ऑपरेट नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम सच स्टॉक्स विल हिट योर स्टॉप लॉस, दे विल नॉट प्रोवाइड योर गुड एंट्री। प्लस इसमें क्या हो गया है, दो कंटिन्यूस सर्किट लग चुके हैं, एंड प्लस देयर इज नो प्रॉपर एंट्री पॉइंट। so what we'll do, we'll just simply skip this stock right now, because स्कैनिंग में योर मेन फोकस शुड बी ऑन द रिजेक्शन, कि आपको किस टाइप के सेटअप्स को रिजेक्ट करना है, राइट? उसके बाद जो आपका एक जो लास्ट आपके बाकी सेटअप्स बचेंगे, दे आर ऑलरेडी एक्सेप्टेड, राइट? सो आपका एक रिजेक्शन क्राइटेरिया इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट, राइट? नेक्स्ट इफ यू लुक एट बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा, अगेन स्ट्रॉन्ग इंडस्ट्री ग्रुप, गुड अप ट्रेंड है, चला हुआ, स्ट्रॉन्ग अप ट्रेंड चला हुआ है, प्लस द ऑन अ बैड डे ऑल्सो क्लोज्ड इन अ ग्रीन, गुड and reversed from the 10 day moving average, again worth considering, so we'll simply add it to the watch list. बिरला कॉर्प, अगेन सीमेंट सेक्टर, एज आई सेड कि आपका पूरा सीमेंट सेक्टर मूव कर रहा है, वी ऑलरेडी गॉट वन नेम फ्रॉम दैट सेक्टर, एसीसी। इधर क्या हो गया है, द ओनली इशू इज दैट वी हैव ऑलरेडी मिस्ड द एंट्री एट दिस पॉइंट, बिकॉज द ऑलरेडी ब्रेकआउट आ गया है, एंड प्लस देयर इज अ लिटिल बिट चॉपीनेस इन द ओवरऑल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ द स्टॉक एज वेल, कि बार बार ये 200 डे और द 50 डे मूविंग एवरेज को बार बार टेस्ट करने आ जाता है, so it's not for someone who operates with a closed stop loss, right? So if you are operating with a 4-5% kind of stop loss, so this kind of stock is not for you, because most of the time such stock will hit your stop loss, right? So that is one issue with such stocks, so we'll skip this name, DBL, next name. Okay, so again construction, I think so construction, this belongs to the construction, right? So one thing is clear, if I zoom out a bit, right? So यहाँ से हमारा स्टेज 1 से स्टेज 2 की तरफ, स्टेज 2 हमारा ऑलरेडी चालू हो चुका है, so there was a big consolidation here as well, then a breakout, and again a consolidation going on at this point as well, right? So if you want to do a conservative kind of trade, you can simply wait जब ये इस previous जो हमारा swing high था, जो हमारे प्रीवियस स्विंग हाई को क्रॉस करेगा, यू कैन आइदर सिंपली वेट फॉर दैट, और इफ यू कैन सी दैट यू कैन कनेक्ट द टॉप्स, यू कैन ऑल्सो ड्रॉ काइंड ऑफ अ स्लैंटिंग ट्रेंड लाइन, तो जब इसको ये स्टॉक क्रॉस करेगा, सो दैट इज योर एंट्री पॉइंट। सो what you can do, let's say this is the exact entry point, right? 430, so what I'll do, just I'll simply go to 430, I'll simply set my alert there, right? So I can simply set the alert at that particular point as well, right? The only issue is if you are using
अच्छा
the
भाई,
yeah,
भाई स्कैनर वाला पोर्शन थोड़ा फिर से दिखाओगे क्या? मतलब क्राइटेरिया क्या क्या था?
okay, this is the criteria, right? So this is my criteria, right? कि there should be linearity in the stock, right? linearity का simple सा meaning है, it should be in a proper uptrend, right? So for me linearity means कि the stock should be well above the 10, 20 and 50 day moving average, right? So that is the linearity कि आपका trend like this जाना चाहिए with a consolidation, right? Second thing is the what kind of setup you want to trade, what kind of setup, right? So VCP is a really good setup that most people trade. The inside bars again is a really good setup for a perfect entry, precise entry, कि जब वो inside bar से when the stock actually breaks out from that inside bar, again because your inside bar is also a VCP on a smaller scale, right? या फिर my third criteria is when the stock gap ups, or you can also call it the episodic pivot if it is combined with the earnings as well, or maybe you can also call it PEAD, post earning announcement drift. So एक certain criteria, that is the criteria. Second, how to shorten that list, right? What is a sorry, minimum price, what is the minimum price? Okay, minimum price, okay, let's forget about that. Yeah, minimum price, or maybe the minimum volume, or maybe if you want to avoid the circuit stocks, right? Again, and fourth is the market breadth, right? So market breadth should be strong, because again you can't make money in a bad situation. You can't you can't look for 100% kind of moves in a bear market, right? So that is only in a good bull swing, your or a bull market, good bull market, you'll be looking for stocks that are you'll be expecting a 50 100 kind of percent moves. You'll be looking for those kind of moves, because in that environment, so market breadth is really important, how the market is behaving at that certain point. Fifth criteria is simply कि what is the like sector, is the sector strong, is the sector weak, because a laggard in a strong sector will also give you good returns versus the strongest one in a lagging sector, right? So you need the sectoral strength as well, like we had the sectoral strength in case of the oil and gas, power, PSU banks, all these names you have been seeing from last 2 3 weeks, right? So this is the something that you have to decide for your own. So I'm just sharing my criteria. You can apply this criteria as well, or you can combine it with your own criteria. I hope that that is clear, right?
हाँ भाई, हो गया। अच्छा, और एक बात, और आप ट्रेडिंग व्यू में क्या क्या वो जो ऐड किया था आपने, ये जो क्राइटेरिया कहाँ ऐड किया था?
Okay, so criteria simply you'll see this arrow right here, right? Okay, so
ओके।
इसमें what I'm doing right now is I'm using a 4% scan. So 4% scan को use करने का logic क्या है? 4% scan just give me a number of stocks where the range expansion is happening. It's based on the criteria of Stock B or Pradeep Bunde, if you have heard of him, right? So उनके criteria पे based है कि if a stock is giving a 4% or more than 4% move in a single day, means there's some kind of range expansion happening in that stock, right? That is why I'm using the 4% criteria. Then I'll get number of stocks, usme I'll just manually look at the stock, if the setup if that stock satisfy the criteria, if there's a VCP forming, if there's a proper uh, entry point there, if there's proper risk reward area there, if the stock is breaking out or already has broken out, right? So we'll just based on that we'll be selecting the few names, right? As we have gone through, I think so 5 10 names, right? And we only selected, I think so we have only selected 3 names, because we have already rejected many. This one again is setting up well, राइट? सो
थैंक यू भाई।
इसको बनाने का तरीका सिंपल, यू गो टू चेंज परसेंटेज above equal 4, right? So any more question guys regarding this?
No, on DBL, it is like twice it has checkout, right?
Yeah. Here see this one, 23rd Jan, again this was a shakeout with the whole market shakeout, right? Again this was, again there was a shakeout day, right? But again if you see, the suddenly the stock has started showing some kind of strength, the earnings also near, plus the overall sector is kind of doing well. So what we'll be doing here is that we'll just simply wait if the stock comes out of this range or not, right? So that would be the perfect entry point if the stock is coming out of this range, then only we'll be trade this. So what I'll do, just I'll just simply keep it in the watch list for the future. I can set a alert here. So trading view के free version में you can only set a one alert, but in Zerodha, if you're using the Zerodha or any other broker, they'll give you plenty of alerts, right? So जब वो एक टाइम आएगा वहां पे हमारा अलर्ट ट्रिगर होता है, और मे बी द जीटीटी ट्रिगर होता है, देन वी कैन सिंपली एंटर इट. Currently we'll seeing ki if the stock has potential to do that or not, and currently I see a kind of potential here because there's a good range formation happening, sector is good, and the stock is well in a uptrend and stage 2 start ho chuka hai, right? I hope that's clear. Okay, going on to the next one. Okay, this one again, if you see, a clear reject for me. First of all, as I said ki I need linearity, there's no linearity, plus the circuit stock, like uh, only if you have done a kind of fundamental analysis on all of that, so that you can trade. Otherwise it's not a tradable stock from the pure short term technical perspective, right? So we'll be skipping that one. Next one, again if you see this, again a penny, small stock, 24 rupees ka stock hai.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
Yeah, have gone down.
Can you repeat?
Yeah,
Can you repeat?
yeah, have gone down. On last Friday, a lot of the stocks took SL,
Right.
but after hitting the SL, lot of the stocks took a reversal and closed
Right.
above the SL. So,
Right.
how did you treat that scenario?
So in that scenario, what happens is that my stop loss also triggers in many cases, right? So the only exception there would be if you are trading with the right stop loss. Let's say you are trading with a too close of a stop loss. Let's say 2% kind of stop loss you are trading with. So वो तो थोड़ा सा भी market में if the shakeout comes, then those will hit your stop loss. Definitely it will your hit will sorry, it will hit your stop loss. But also if your other positions are also hitting the stop loss, because my positions also hit the stop loss, like as I said ki I was holding PFC, right? The only mistake there I did was that ki I held it through the earnings, right? So again that was a kind of a risk that I took there. Again my stop loss around to 430 something, somewhere around that, and my average was also around that. So again it fell due to the results as well, and market also fell, it triggered my stop loss. So what I'll do here, if it recovers again, I can simply enter again, right? So that is something you'll get to use to, because in the in the late stages of a bull run, you'll get many shakeout, you'll get many shakeout, like we are actually getting a shakeout every single week, right? So that is something that we'll have to deal with. We'll get a shakeout. What we'll do, we'll wait for the setup to again, or maybe we'll look for other stocks, like currently like we are looking for other stocks, right? We have found some good names, we can also replace those names again, right? And plus the last thing is like a proper stop loss placement. Ki you will have to give a stock enough space as well, ki once it has broken out, most of the time there's a small pullback or maybe there's a small consolidation, so you'll have to give the stock enough space to do that whatever he wants, and rest you'll hold with the stop loss. If the market shakes out, it's okay, because we actually don't know when the shakeout will turn into a downtrend. So our main goal is to protect against that scenario, because if the market recovers quickly we can enter again, because the with the help of the stop loss our loss would be very minor. I hope that's clear. Okay, I'll continue. You guys can hear me, right? You guys can hear me clearly, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so I'll continue. Okay, so as we were going through, again as I said, what was my first criteria? I need linearity. I don't see any kind of linearity here, although I can see kind of a your VCP kind of characteristic here if I want to trade this again. But again, not my kind of stock that I would like to trade, plus a circuit stock, so kind of a risky, especially in this environment. So it's a clear scale. Moving on to next one, FCL again, chemical name. Although I see a kind of a small strength coming in chemical names, right? Because again, if you see, we found Aarti Industries, again this one also, I think so this is before earnings, it also reversed from the 20, sorry, 200 moving average around that level, right? So what I'll wait for here, if the stock consolidates here and then finally crosses this area, because it's already a supply zone, means the stock is facing resistance in this area. So I'll just simply wait, if it consolidates here a bit and then crosses, so my buy point would be above this 378 something level. Again, I'll keep it in the watch list simply. So till now we have gotten only 5 names. global spirits. Again, if you see, this is kind of a stage one scenario that is happening here. So after a decline of, how much decline, it's like a 40%, more than 40% decline, right? Stock has been facing resistance multiple times at the 200 day moving average, right? So it's a classic stage one scenario. So once the stock crosses this 200, see again third time also after the earnings as well. So what will be the good plan here is just simply wait for it to actually cross the 200 moving average, and it crossed the 900. But again, as I said, it's not a strong one as compared to the other ones if you see, right? So again, we can also skip it as well, because again it will test your patience, or you can go for a buy kind of above the 930 kind of level.
Hello, Ajay ji.
Yeah.
Uh, I would like to ask a question regarding FCL.
Right.
If someone has made a position near a 200-day moving average,
Right.
then what should he do as per the technical analysis?
Okay. So let's say somebody has made a position around the 200 moving average. What the stock did, it bounced back strongly from that, and also the volume is also coming in. So what is like, so first of all, it should be clear ki if you are trading it from a purely technical perspective, or there's a fundamental bias there. Because if you mix those, then there's a problem ki you bought, let's say you bought from the fundamental bias, and now you're looking at the technical, so that will create a conflict. But let's say if you bought from a purely, let's say, technical perspective, my suggestion would be simply to keep a stop loss at a respectable distance, let's say around this level, maybe 350 level, because that will give the enough space for the stock to move. Plus you have enough margin of safety as well if you bought around somewhere around the 200 day moving average. Okay.
Yes, okay. Actually, I bought near 330.
Okay.
मुझे स्टॉक थोड़ा सा सही लगा फंडामेंटल वाइज
Okay.
एंड टेक्निकल वाइज भी सही लग रहा था तो जस्ट आई बॉट एंड राइट नाउ जस्ट आई एम थिंकिंग कि इफ इट स्टॉक अगेन कम्स डाउन टू 330 लेवल माय ऑल प्रॉफिट विल बी गॉन शुड आई बुक बिकॉज केमिकल इज नॉट डूइंग रियली वेल कई सारे
Right.
स्टॉक्स के रिजल्ट जो है वो अच्छे नहीं आए
Right.
तो वही सब थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन
राइट 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 सो वहाँ पे यू हैव टू ऑप्शंस कि अगर आपको एक शॉर्ट टर्म प्रॉफिट बुक करना है, दैट इज अगेन गुड क्राइटेरिया, बिकॉज इफ आपका मार्केट एनवायरनमेंट अगर वीक हो रहा है, तो वहाँ पे आपको अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी को उस हिसाब से पिवट करना पड़ेगा। मीन्स अगर आपका मार्केट आपको अच्छे मूव नहीं दे पा रहा है, एक सस्टेनेबल मूव नहीं दे पा रहा है, जैसा कि लास्ट 2-3 वीक्स से हो रहा है एक्सेप्ट फ्यू सेक्टर्स, तो वहाँ पे आप एक शॉर्ट टर्म प्रॉफिट भी बुक कर सकते हैं। रेस्ट इफ योर बाय वाज बेस्ड ऑन फंडामेंटल, सो आई गेस तो आपको सेल भी उसके हिसाब से ही देखना चाहिए, दैट वुड बी बेटर। बिकॉज अगेन एज आई सेड कि एक आपका फंडामेंटल बाय का एंड आपका टेक्निकल सेल का एक वहाँ पे क्लैश हो जाएगा, प्लस दैट द फीलिंग कि आई डोंट वांट टू गिव ऑल द प्रॉफिट बैक। So it's better ki at least half, you can book the half or maybe the 30% of the original quantity, and rest you can keep a, let's say, stop loss around 350 355 something that level, कि आपके स्टॉक को थोड़ा कंसोलिडेट होने का भी टाइम मिल जाएगा। इफ द रिजल्ट्स आर गुड देन इट मे ब्रेक आउट एज वेल, जैसे कि आपने आरती इंडस्ट्री के केस में देखा, रिजल्ट्स वर not that bad in this environment, right? So that's why stock behaved strongly during that, right? So that is one thing, I hope that's clear.
Yes, you are right. In case of RT Industries, actually, because of the result, stock plunged.
Yeah.
But since after the phone call, management guidance was pretty good. They raised their guidance, and that's why it again, bounced back.
Right. Right.
But yeah, okay, things are clear for me. You can carry on.
Okay.
Thank you, Ajay.
Well. Okay. Right. So coming back to, again, if you see this, again coming back to our criteria कि हमें क्या चाहिए, we need a linearity. We can clearly see कि एक बहुत बड़े बेस से first of all breakout आया, plus we'll have to consider a bit here कि आपका थोड़ा market cap भी large है, थोड़ा stock का characteristic कैसा है कि थोड़ा ऐसा चल रहा है, but overall it's a proper range formation here. If the finally it breaks out from this range, that is a good buy. Let's say above, let's say around 2190 something level. So I'll just again add it into my uh, watch list, right? So again iske baad we'll make a primary watch list after doing a scan. So right, so again it would be, it it would be looking like कि बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लग रहा है इसको स्कैन करने में, because that's why I'm explaining a single bit to you guys. Otherwise, if I want to do the scan, once you have the criteria in your mind, so if I want to do scan, I'll just simply, let's say this, look at, there's no linearity, there's no proper trend, it's kind of a circuit, so I'll just skip it. I won't even waste 1 second here. Again, same thing here, there's no linearity, a kind of a circuit, although plus in a downtrend kind of situation, although bouncing back from 200 day, but again not a good one. I'll just simply skip it. Hindustan Motors, again, penny kind of stock, right? Again, too much choppiness. Maybe it will start performing from here and all of that, but again, not according to my criteria. Plus, there's no buy point for me. So again, that is a clear skip. India Cements. So why I would consider this stock, although it's in a consolidation, right? And although bouncing back from the 200 moving average, the overall sector is has started to show some strength. We already got the Birla Corp, we already got the ACC, right? So again, so what will happen, just I can skip it for right now, but overall if I see, it is a good buy above around 279 something. आपको एक 4% स्कैन से पता क्या लग जाएगा, वन मोर थिंग, वन मोर बेनिफिट ऑफ दिस 4% स्कैन इज यू विल गेट टू नो विच सेक्टर इज शोइंग स्ट्रेंथ, because उस सेक्टर के, if the more number of stocks from a certain sector is showing a move of more than 4%, so that is a really good sign कि वो sector आपका overall strength में आ रहा है. Like we already saw, we got 3 names from the cement sector till now, right? So again, cement के names we can simply go through the cement name as well. Indraprasth Medicos, if you see, kind of a good uptrend में है, थोड़ा यहाँ पे bounce back आ रहा है, again starting to go up. So, right, so that's a good kind of there was a good kind of consolidation here around the 50-day moving average, and वहाँ से बाहर आते हुए, plus there was good volume as well and good bounce back on the weekday as well. So we'll consider this, we'll keep in the watch list. ISFT, again, if you see, there's no proper trend, too much choppiness, maybe it will come out from this range, again no proper entry point, so I'll just simply skip it. जैक्सन पाल फार्मा डाउन ट्रेंड, स्ट्रॉन्ग डाउन ट्रेंड, थोड़ा सा बाउंस बैक यहाँ पे आया, दैट्स व्हाई इट कंसिडर्ड द स्कैन कंसिडर्ड इट, सो विल जस्ट सिंपली skip it. This one, again, a circuit kind of stock, so it will be a good kind of buy at the pullback, जैसा कि यहाँ पे थोड़ा कंसोलिडेटेड होता है, थोड़ा पुल बैक होता है, so we can consider it, we can keep it in the watch list. This one, again, a clear skip. KCP, again another name from the cement sector. Again, if you see, first of all, it's a very large kind of a way breakout, let's say. If we want to give it a name, a very large kind of a cup and handle kind of a breakout. Plus another thing interesting, the whole sector coming in play, you look at the volume as well, that is expanding. So again, this is worth considering कि we'll be looking for entry here, कि जब ये एक entry, proper एक entry हमारे को देगा, because it moved due to the results. So again, this at this point also, maybe it forms inside bar, if it forms small consolidation, and as well, as long as above the 21-day moving average, if we get another small consolidation like this kind of entry, right, so we can simply enter at that point, so it's worth adding in the watch list. This one, again, in a downtrend, 20 rupee stock, skip. This one, again, I think so, IPO kind of a stock, and currently crossing this area, maybe it's a SME, I don't actually know, so it's a IPO kind of a base, so we'll add it in the watch list. MEP infrastructure, although the setup is kind of a looking good, but overall too much choppiness in the past and penny kind of a stock, so we'll skip it. OFSS, a good, see, this was a very strong earnings reaction, right? And उसके बाद क्या हुआ? It formed a small kind of a rounding kind of a base, well above the 10-day moving average, and वहाँ से एक छोटा सा breakout आया. Plus again, still at a good entry point, I'd say, in the watch list. Electra, if you see, no like नो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा इसको पूरे मार्केट का, जैसा मार्केट नीचे जा रहा था, मेंटेनिंग वेल अबव द 10 एंड द 21 डे मूविंग एवरेज, सो इसने बहुत बड़ा बेस बनाया यहाँ से, वहाँ से ब्रेकआउट स्टार्टेड, सी ब्रेकआउट हैपेंड एंड इट स्टार्टेड गोइंग अप सिंस देन, एंड यहाँ पे अगेन बेस बना ड्यूरिंग द अर्निंग्स, थोड़ा, सी, दिस वाज द शेकआउट डे, 23rd Jan, 18 Jan ऑल्सो अनदर शेकआउट डे, एंड अर्निंग्स के उसके बाद नेक्स्ट डे स्ट्रॉन्ग रिकवरी, earnings के बाद also well maintained above the 10-day moving average, so it is like a a kind of a good buy on a pullback kind of setup right now. So again, it's worth adding in the watch list. So we'll simply add it in the watch list. So 1.1 solution, again I think so it gave good results. Again, the stock is in a strong uptrend, well above the 50-day moving average as well. 10 and 20 के ऊपर भी था. A good base formation is happening here, and plus a good entry point available at this point as well, unless it gives a strong gap up. So that is again a gap up kind of strategy say. But if you look at the overall setup, so considering the IR criteria, considering our criteria, the stock has been in a very strong uptrend. So there's linearity first of all, right? Overall आपका वॉल्यूम भी improve हो रहा है. Overall if you see the stock की movement भी improve हो रही है. And so again simply we'll simply wait for it to cross, because इसने एक थोड़ा सा एक false breakout दिया था at this point. So once again if it crosses this area, that is a good entry point. Orchid Farm, if you guys see, it's a gap up trade, a simple gap up trade. Earnings were really good. Due to that, the stock gapped up and it gave a strong volume as well. And if you see from the previous gap up as well, the stock is up around 60-70% from the previous gap as well, and the gap wasn't even filled. So many people have this misconception that the gaps are always filled. For some reason, they have this misconception that the gaps are always filled, but that is actually not the case. So here, what our trade plan would be simply, if the price closes below the upper boundary of the gap, it's if the price went like this, like जो हमारा upper boundary of the gap is like 964. If the price goes like that, that is a clear exit point for us. Till then, if the stock, we'll have to see the behavior of the stock. If it consolidates similarly like this for next few days above the gap region, that would be a very good entry point. So it's a 100% worth considering candidate that you should keep in the watch list. Orient Press, if you see again, although coming out of a base, but too much choppiness and all of that, not a good sector. Prism Johnson again, coming from the cement sector. So one thing till now is clear that the your cement sector is really strong, because most of the names are coming from that sector here that performed really well. So we have a clear one simple horizontal line kind of a breakout. We see this resistance area here. So if the stock crosses that area, so again that is again a good entry point there. RSS software again, uh, circuit stock, not worth considering. Cells electronics, although I don't like the overall movement of the stock, because it gives it like it's a bad kind of a stock for me, because it has given so many shakeout multiple times. If you see here and here, but now considering there was a good earnings surprise as well, the volume also coming in, so plus above the 10 and 20 moving average, again it's kind of a worth considering candidate. Sandhar Technologies, if you see guys, so again this was a big base breakout that happened of right after the from that IPO price and all. So uske baad earnings are also good recently, plus there's a small earning gap up as well. So it's again a pullback plus the earning gap up kind of a trade right here. That can happen at this point, right? So again a 455, that is the upper boundary of the gap. So if the stock consolidates here for some time, so that could be a good entry point with the stop loss somewhere around the below the upper boundary of the gap, right? So again it's again worth adding in the watch list. Sanghi Hospitals, again a clear skip. Look at the movement, look at the choppiness. Schneider Electric, again a good one. See, actually it gave a breakout few weeks back, right? So with a 4% kind of expansion, you'll be able to get in at such points where from a range the stock has started expanding again. This was also a kind of a range expansion candle that happened here, right? So that you'll be able to enter at such points. Again, this is kind of a gap up, so you'll have to focus on the upper boundary of the gap, that is the low of that gap up candle. If the price breaks that lows कैंडल का लो ब्रेक करता है और नॉट, या फिर वहां से कंटिन्यूशन मूव आता है और नॉट. STBL again, this is again below the 200 moving average, so we shouldn't be actually looking something below the 200 moving average, because इतने strong market में if you are going for such kind of stocks, so there's already a underperformance happening, so we'll skip that. Schneider will add in the watch list again. This one also a penny kind of stock, so simple skip. This one again a penny kind of a stock, simple skip. This one again a penny kind of stock, but although I like the overall setup, because again थोड़ा range से बाहर आ रहा है यहाँ पे, so again we'll keep it in the watch list. SGL Logistics again range से बाहर आया, so it was already in my watch list actually, right? So the range से बाहर आया, there was a gap up as well, right? So again considering SMS Pharma, if you see again एक proper आपका एक range से breakout हुआ है, if you see this proper range breakout that is happening here, right? So again, so any kind of a pullback here could be a good entry. Swan Energy, if you see, so this is the kind of the linear stocks that I really like. See, look at the trend, look at the secularity of the trend. Every single time the stock came down to the 21-day moving average, it bounced back right after that. Again, this time it bounced from 10-day moving average. So again, let's say if we want to trade here, so what we will do, we'll just keep somewhere stop loss somewhere below this level. Maybe if the stop loss is too high, let's say 8% kind of a stop loss, so we don't want to do that, right? So we'll see if the stock corrects a little bit, like happened here right after the expansion, right? If the stock corrects here, we'll get a better entry point, or maybe it consolidates here a little bit, again a better entry point. Any pullback towards the 21-day moving average, that would be another good entry point. If the stock forms a range here, then also that could be a good entry point. So it's kind of worth keeping in your watch list. This one again belonging to a strong sector, solar related I think so, if I remember correctly. Plus एक बहुत लॉन्ग रेंज से ब्रेकआउट हुआ, थोड़ा एक स्मॉल कंसोलिडेशन आया, देन अगेन रेंज एक्सपेंशन, अगेन एक स्मॉल कंसोलिडेशन आ रहा है विद इन दिस रेंज. सो अबव दिस रेंज दैट्स अ क्लियर काइंड ऑफ अ गुड एंट्री पॉइंट right above this range as well. So if you look at Thermax, this Trident Tech Labs, so again this is a circuit kind of a stock, so we won't be able to trade that. Thermax again coming out of a range, again worth considering, although थोड़ा चॉपीनेस है, काफ़ी ज़्यादा linearity नहीं है उतना ट्रेंड में, but still it's kind of a worth considering if it gives a proper entry point. Treehouse Education, again a penny kind of stock. Universo, again a bad kind of a, again no proper trend here. If you guys see, Visaka industry is a really strong one. See, again another proof of gaps. So gaps are not necessarily filled. If you guys see at this area, if you see, so this was due to the announcement after the Ram Mandir inauguration, the solar rooftop announcement. The gap happened. So again, a episodic kind of a pivot, and then stock went up, reversed from the 21-day moving average, and again since then has been going up, and plus crossing the previous. So it's exactly, so it has already crossed the previous all-time high level as well. So again, we can look for entries on any consolidation here. So we'll keep it in the watch list. VLS Finance, if you see again a good flag kind of uh, formation happening here, if you see, so यहाँ पे एक बहुत बड़ा range से बाहर आया. First of all, there was a range breakout. That too combined was a gap up plus the volume plus the stock consolidating well above the 10-day moving average, right? So if you see, I am repeating the same thing again and again because that is my criteria, that is what I do, right? So you'll have to think of a certain criteria for yourself कि जो आपको सूट करता है, and you will be repeating that again and again and again every single day. Then you will be able to identify the certain kind of stocks in a single glance. Websol again, this was a good one if it consolidates, but again, circuit because of the solar thing. Wellspun Living is a good setup if I'd say, because look at the overall broader range formation happening. Plus, I can simply see a good resistance area. So if 170 is crossed, that is a simple horizontal line breakout kind of a thing here. And last one we have today is the WSI Industries, again already gave a breakout. The results were really strong, and plus volume there as well, right? So how many stocks we selected, how many we have selected? We are just only 25 names till now, only 25 names, right? So again, we don't, and we didn't have to search for the 2000 names as well, although we may have missed many names, right? So uske liye what I'll do, I have another scan that I look for is the 3-month performance. So here what I'll do, I'll simply look for the stocks that have given a minimum of 50% returns in last 3 months, and the price is above the 40. I'm just looking for a minimum price of 40 plus the volume criteria, and I'm just looking at the NSE stocks. So here I am getting 160 names, right? So uh, whatever the stocks I missed in the 4% name, I'll be getting here. So again, why a 3-month performance? Because that tells me the how these stocks have been behaving from last 3 months, right? So if they are giving a 50% kind of a move in last 3 months, our typical thinking would be कि इसने 50% मूव तो ऑलरेडी दे दिया 3 मंथ में, तो अब और कितना ऊपर जाएगा. But if you see, in case of a good bull market, stocks have actually given 100, 200, 300, 400 kind of percent returns. And this 50% criteria tells us the stock, if it is consolidating in us, we'll be able to catch many such names. Like look at Adani Green Energy. Again, the stock has given a 50% kind of a move in last 3 months, and again it provided us a very good entry point here, right? So again, we'll do the same thing here. We'll go through all the names slowly, like we'll go through the names, whatever the ones are there's entry available. Like BPCL आपका after a very good name, sorry, very good breakout, has been consolidating a little bit. You look at BHEL, same thing happened here. If you see, although strong pullback happened. BDL again, same thing. There was a breakout after this strong move. If you see, after this strong move, right, there was a breakout. Balman Lorry again, after the gap up, the stock was up above this level, and during the shakeout, so we have a clear entry point above 290 here also. Balaji Telefilms again, after the earnings gap up or the episodic pivot, we can also tell us again we get another gap up, and the stock is yeah, showing really good strength, right? So let's say just go through the random names like Chennai Petrogin. So although kind of a pulling back, so we'll just simply wait for it to cross like 960, 970 kind of level. There could be one entry. You look at Cochin Shipyard again, well above the 2020 moving average. Cupid continuously going up with circuits. DCM Shriram Industries again a good one. यहाँ पे इसने थोड़ा एक base बनाया था, then a breakout, and now well above the 2020 moving average. So now I'd say let's kind of do a Q&A kind of. You guys have any doubts? You can tell me.
So if you buy any stock, right,
Right,
and results are nearby, right?
right.
Do you sell it if you don't have any profit cushion, or do you anticipate like okay, result will be good, I'll be there?
So anticipation is a really dangerous kind of a thing, right? So
Mm.
if I have a profit cushion, let's say 5 to 10% kind of I have a profit cushion, so then there's no harm in holding the stock. The only risk I'm carrying after that is the if the results are terrible and the stock gives a breakdown, sorry, not a breakdown, a gap down open, that is the maximum risk that I'll be carrying at that point. Like see, BPCL, I also posted on the Twitter as well, right? So BPCL. Okay, yeah. Wait a second. Just yeah. So I was saying कि BPCL had results around this, somewhere around here also, and results are not like brilliant kind of results, but still the stock went up. Plus I had the cushion, so I held it through the result. Same thing I tried to do in the case of the PFC, right? But PFC ka results were not really that good. That's why the stock went down. But I had a profit cushion, so it was me, for me it was a no profit no loss kind of a situation, right? So I'd say कि earnings के पास hold करना it's very dangerous unless you have a good profit cushion. Yes, Shravan Kumar, you can ask your question.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
So my hello, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hello.
So I just wanted to check with you, like, how do you select your stocks? Hello,
Right, right, right. Okay.
audible now?
Yeah, 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 yeah. You can hear me. Yeah, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, I just wanted to check. Yeah, how do you define decide your stops? Like most of the time, when you're entering into and setup.
Right.
I mean, when you check the setup, you will probably either you go for the previous day low
Right.
or the swing low or
Right.
one of the key moving averages,
Right.
maybe 20 moving, 20 day, 50 day, or 10-day moving averages.
Right.
So my problem is over the past few months, I've had a lot of good names.
Right.
I had placed my stop loss at one of the key moving averages. Unfortunately, on the shakeout days, most of those moving averages, most of the stops have been taken away,
Right.
and then I find it very difficult to enter back into the stock.
Right.
So probably that's a psychological thing. Maybe I
Right.
should be open to look back, come back to the stocks even if I am stopped out.
Right.
But in a bull run that we are in right now, probably the late stage bull run,
Right.
would you say that we should keep stops thoda niche? I mean, slightly conservative
Right.
stops
Right.
is okay, or yeah, that's my
Okay. Okay.
basic question.
Got it. So, like, first of all, re-entering, as you said, ki is a kind of a thoda psychological problem, right? If you are shaken out, if your stop loss is hit from certain stock, it's kind of a difficult to enter again. Plus, stop loss, I'd say ki follow your rule. Even in a we are in a good bull run, let's say, right? So, if you like, I preferably consider in a trend following, I like to consider the 21-day moving average ka stop loss, right? So, but if you go through the examples, if you go through stocks that have given a good run, most of the most of them give a more than 50% kind of a move well above the 21-day moving average without hitting your stop. As for the entry, it's like it depends on the setup, right? So, like, let's say here my entry was after this shakeout when the candle reversed here. So what I did, why I entered somewhere around middle of the candle, so I kept the stop loss around here, and there was a good follow up, and I also shifted the stop loss around the next candle, right? So that's why there was a good profit cushion for me for holding the results as well. So I'd say ki whatever stops you are using, even in this environment, that's good if if you're doing the logical kind of stop, let's say using the 21-day moving average or the or the base ka low or the swing low kind of a stop. So it's okay, like shakeouts will happen especially in the late stage of a bull run, right? So here our focus should be more on a thoda short term profit taking as well quickly as compared to the what we have been doing for the last year, right? So I hope that's clear.
Just in continuation to that, so
Okay.
since you keep 21 EMA as a stop loss, right?
Right.
So if you see
Yeah,
many,
thank
yeah, if you see many places, as soon as it's closing below 21 EMA, next
Right.
date is closing up, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
is that two consecutive close or no? First close is fine for your stop loss.
Right. So I always considered in my close the first close there,
Hmm, okay.
right? So in my case, it's a simple first close, because again that also depends on your like strategy or the trading type as well. Because if you see, if we look at in the consolidation phase, there will be many instances when the stock will be closing below the 21-day moving average, right? But once the trend has started, you can clearly see this also from here. Let's say there was a clear entry point here, right? Considering whatever kind of entry we take, right? So it was an entry. So again, considering my style of trading, it's just like, let's say it closed around here, 21 को इसने violate किया around here. So again, that was a clear 50% kind of a run for me. When the consolidation starts, there will be many instances key when the stock will close below the 21-day moving average, right? So there will be many instances. So that is not the point where I will be trading that particular stock, right? So
And
that's why.
yeah, and normally during base formation, such things happen, right?
Yeah, base formations, many base during the base formation, the stock will easily violate your
Mm.
this 21-day moving average multiple times,
Mm.
right?
And
So
you put a GTT order for sale for stop loss
yeah,
or
yeah, GTT order,
mm,
GTT
okay.
order, because many times you won't be at the screen or you won't be using your phone, right?
Yeah.
So you can't wait, because sometimes what happens if the earnings reaction is too terrible, आपका स्टॉक 10-20% नीचे गिर जाता है, so you can't afford that, right? So that's why it's like first violation पे I'm out.
Mm.
Plus, let's say you have a more of a fundamental knowledge or a fundamental bias in case of a stock. You can also use the 50-day moving average. That's good for someone who's not good with multiple time entry and exit, right? So my criteria is I'm comfortable with multiple entries and multiple exits, right? So my trade tally would be much higher as compared to yours.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more question, guys?
I have one more if others don't have.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So my question is, so your dashboard was there, right?
Right. This
In
one.
dashboard, is it possible to get like, okay, we are near short-term top or something
Right.
through
Right.
the count of stock or something?
Right. So that is again based on the observation. Like, let's say ki what we have seen is that ki if I look at the this, let's say 200 day moving, let's say ki stocks above the this 200 day. Wait a second, it's taking time to run. So you will see ki maximum time what happens ki whenever, let's say this 50 day or the 21 day, you can
Hmm.
get a conclusion here ki whenever it goes above the 70 or 80%, there's a
Hmm.
sudden that pullback kind of thing that is happening. So
Hmm.
we'll be able to manage our exposure. Plus if it goes too down extreme like this kind of situation, it may
Hmm.
stay there sometime कि जैसा आपका पूरा market थोड़ा down होगा, it may stay there sometime. But otherwise in such cases when the overall market is good, in such extreme cases it's good you can enter back again जैसे ही वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा bounce back आता है. Plus it will be kind of a difficult to trade की to tell कि if the market is going for a correction or not. बट एक आप ट्रेंड देख सकते हैं लाइक कि नंबर ऑफ स्टॉक्स अबव दिस 10 21 एंड 50 ऑल ऑफ दीज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स कि वो आपको क्या बता रहा है कि इफ द नंबर इज इंक्रीजिंग और डिक्रीजिंग और देयर, राइट? So that is what we can conclude from the dashboard.
Right.
Okay, you can ask your question, Mr. Rishabh.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Uh, Sir, actually, I just wanted to know, so do you average up or average down, or you put all the money? So suppose you have selected the stock which is on the screen, Finance,
Right, right.
and would you invest the decided amount all at one go, or you average up side once you start seeing the momentum, or you wait? Uh,
For a
Look,
pullback or
how you
kind of.
allocate the stock,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
what is the percentage size you keep in any one stock? If you
Right,
can
right.
also give us some idea about it.
Right. So again, I'm not really good with the exceptional kind of position size. Like some people are good with the 30 40% kind of position size in a swing trade, right? So I'm not comfortable, right? So it's my is like 15 20% kind of position size that I would like to go with. Plus I'm not really good with the pyramiding. So most of the time if I get a good stop, like my criteria is ki I don't want to go beyond the 5% kind of stop when the 5% kind of stop loss if I'm entering the stock at a particular point. So for me it works ki if I enter with the full amount in the beginning instead of pyramiding it up. Otherwise it's like I also posted about this on Twitter I think so sometimes ago कि if the stock is a kind of a mover, that's a slow kind of a mover, and थोड़ा थोड़ा consolidate करके वो it keeps on moving. So there we can also pyramid up because it's comfortable. But sometimes what happens, some stocks are your like vertical kind of a movers, so it's difficult to average up in those cases, like happened in case of SJV and kind of recently, right? So these are kind of a vertical kind of moves that happens, so it's difficult to pyramid up in such cases. But my personal preference or criteria is to get as much as possible in the first go. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Any other question, guys?
Sir, can I just ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
So, sir, there are many of us who joined in late. So, can you
Right.
just summarize the scanner thing for the benefit of everyone? Like just the initial portion which you
Okay, sure,
uh,
sure, sure, sure.
if it's
So
possible for you in the interest
yeah,
of everyone.
yeah, definitely. Right. So start coming back to where I said. So like what I said, ki your scanning is not just about going through the stocks, right? Scanning is not just about कि you go through the random stocks. So first scanning के लिए you need certain criteria in your mind कि what you are actually looking for, right? कि आपको एक स्टॉक को अगर बाय करना है, so what is the criteria that you're following कि आपको क्या देखना है एक स्टॉक में, because again we can buy any kind of a random kind of a stock, but that doesn't work, right? So for an example, using my criteria ki I look for linearity in a stock, means there should be a proper uptrend, it should be of the moving averages, or there should be a proper kind of a consolidation that should be happening, right? So that is one criteria. Second thing I look for ki if it is giving me a proper kind of setup that I would like to trade, like VCP or the inside bars or the gap up, that again depends on person to person कि if what kind of a trades you like to take, what kind of entry you like to take, right? So VCP, we are all aware of the about the VCP or the inside. So who's this guy? Wait a second. So let me remove somebody. So some random person joined the call. Sorry for that. Coming back to this. Okay. So right. So first linearity in the trend. Second कि what kind of setup is there. VCP inside bar gap up, right. So आपको वो खुद से decide करना पड़ेगा कि what would you like to trade, like, or the, let's say there's a continuation, let's say simple horizontal breakout, right? So maybe you are looking for that. Third thing you'll have to see is that कि आपको एक क्राइटेरिया देखना पड़ेगा कि मिनिमम प्राइस, व्हाट काइंड मिनिमम प्राइस, मिनिमम वॉल्यूम, राइट? सो आपको एक बेसिक सा क्राइटेरिया डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा कि मिनिमम प्राइस, मिनिमम वॉल्यूम, कि आपको उस एक लिस्ट को शॉर्टन कैसे करना है, राइट? अवॉइड सर्किट्स, राइट? सर्किट स्टॉक्स, ऑल ऑफ दैट. Fourth thing, you'll have to see the situational awareness or the market breadth, right? Market breadth or the situational awareness कि आपका मार्केट उस सर्टेन पॉइंट पे कैसा है, बिकॉज यू कांट ट्रेड इन अ कंसोलिडेशन और अ बियर मार्केट and bull market in the same way. You'll have to tweak your rules a little bit. Like in my case, I personally like to avoid that, beer kind of a market. I would like to sit in cash in those kind of situation as compared to entering again and again, or maybe holding the stocks at that time. More I more prefer to sit in the cash, right? So again, that is another important. Fifth thing is like strong sector. So whatever kind of stock you're looking at, it should be in the strong sector. Like we did the 4% kind of a scan, right? So we identified that cement sector cement sector is very strong right now. So cement sector was very strong right now. So there are multiple names coming from the cement sector. So what we should do, we should always stick for the sectoral moves, because you see railway did the whole sectoral moves. Your IRFC moved, your RVNL moved, your IRCON moved, your every single kind of a railway stock moved. After that, your PSU banks, even though the fundamentals were terrible, or maybe they are at absurd valuations, like your Indian Overseas Bank moved 40-50% in a very short time, because your overall PSU sector was moving. If you look at private bank sector, all of them, no matter how good the bank is, all of them are not doing well right now. So we like to avoid those kind of sector. Plus your chemical is not doing good right now, so we again would like to avoid those kind of a sector. Versus you look at your recently your oil and gas, you look at BPCL, you look at IOCL, you look at Hind Petro, right? You look at GAIL. All of those stocks are doing really well, because the overall sector is in a swing. So you may catch a laggard in the sector as well, but it will also give a good move. So staying with the strong sector is again a very important, very important thing. Plus the criteria, plus the scans kind of I use is like you look at the 3 month performance. 3 month performance is like the stock should be above the 50, should have given a 50% move at least in the last 3 months. And the another criteria that I use, the 4% scan, that tells me about a stock that has given a more than a 4% or a 4% kind of move in a single day. That tells me about the range expansion. I hope that sums it up, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. uh, any other question, guys?
So maybe you can look at the chat section. There are a couple of questions
Okay,
that
okay, okay,
people.
okay. I haven't looked at the chat section. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, so we joined late. Is the recording available? Yes, recording is available. Forming a base is like आपका consolidate कर रहा है एक stock in a certain range. Let's pick up any stock like this was DBL, दिलीप बिल्डकॉन. सो बेस इज लाइक आपका एक सर्टेन रेंज सेट हो गया है जिसके बीच आपका प्राइस मूव कर रहा है, लाइक हैपेंड हियर. सो दिस वाज द ओवरऑल रेंज वेयर द प्राइस वाज मूविंग, एंड जब फाइनली द प्राइस ब्रेक्स फ्रॉम दैट रेंज, दैट इज व्हाट वी कॉल अ ब्रेकआउट. एंड how the stock moves above that. So again, same thing is happening. So what we'll do, we'll simply look if the stock comes out of this range or not, right? So that is another thing. Or So there are not many questions in the chat section as well, right? So this is someone who's kind of a spam kind of, right? So I any other question, guys, regarding the scanning session or the scan or anything,
I have one more.
right?
Uh, it is like so through this 4% scanner, you are
Right,
able to find out the sector, like which sector is running.
right,
Okay.
right. Because again, because what will happen is that if a sector is strong, the more number of stocks in that sector, more number of stocks in that sector will be giving a good move, right? So that tells you about the overall sector, overall move. So any more question, guys, or should we wrap up the session?
Menino de vovó deixa vovó. O menino de vovó deixa
What the hell is
vovó.
happening here? Some
Sir, I have a
random.
question.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Sir, you use only these two scans, huh?
Mainly I use mainly these two scans and the gap up one. Gap up one I
Okay.
forgot to show you guys, or the gap up one that I have made this in the charting. So gap up one, because again gap up is like my favorite kind of a setup, right? So again we saw the Orchid Pharma, Schneider Electric, FCL, all of those kind of things. Rest, this is all the kind of stocks that I am looking for, I'll get from these, because again you're getting a 160 kind of a names, right? You're getting 160 kind of names, so you will easily be able to identify many stocks from there.
Or these scanners also change with market condition also, huh?
Yeah, because again आपका 4% scan will not show you many names in a bad market, right? Be a kind of a market or a consolidation kind of
Okay.
market में,
So,
plus 3 months mover में आपका 50% movers आपको मिलेंगे ही नहीं in a bad market.
मान लो अभी 2 महीने बाद कंसोलिडेशन में आ जाए तो फिर स्कैनर मतलब कौन सा फिर यूज करेंगे, हाँ?
कंसोलिडेशन में आ जाए, सो इट्स लाइक सिंपल, जब वो वहां से, सो अगेन 4% आपका उसके बाद भी वर्क करेगा. लेट्स से कंसोलिडेशन के बाद आपका धीरे धीरे डेली इंक्रीज हो रहा है नंबर ऑफ 4% मूव्स, लेट्स से, राइट? प्लस
हाँ.
आपको मैनुअली जब आपको 50-60 काइंड ऑफ स्टॉक्स मिल रहे हैं, यू विल इजीली बी एबल टू गेट 2-3 नेम्स दैट यू वांट टू एंटर, राइट? सो उसके बाद आपको वो इजीली मिल सकता है. अगेन स्कैनिंग का आपका सिंपल सा क्राइटेरिया है कि आपको बहुत ज़्यादा 200-300 काइंड ऑफ नेम्स को स्कैन नहीं करना है. आपको सॉरी 2-3,000 काइंड ऑफ नेम्स को स्कैन नहीं करना है. आप उसको एक लिस्ट को अपने क्राइटेरिया के हिसाब से बहुत छोटा करना है, राइट? बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ पीपल आर वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल, दे कांट स्कैन एक्चुअली द 2-3,000 काइंड ऑफ स्टॉक्स. सो डिफाइनिंग अ क्राइटेरिया शॉर्टन्स दैट. रेस्ट आपका जो आपका टेक्निकल नॉलेज है, आपका चार्ट का जो नॉलेज है, आपका सेटअप का जो नॉलेज है, बाकी वो सारा उसी पे डिपेंड करेगा, राइट? सो आई होप
ठीक
दैट आंसर्स द क्वेश्चन.
ठीक है सर, वो अपना गैप अप वाला स्कैनर शेयर कर सकते हैं चार्टिंग वाला?
हाँ, डेफिनेटली डेफिनेटली आई You follow me on Twitter, right? So I'll post
Uh,
the
I even post
link
on
there.
Twitter. I follow you.
Yeah, so I'll post the link there.
Okay, sir. Thank you for
So,
session.
Okay,
take
okay.
one question.
Yeah, sure.
Like, how do you book your profit? Something like one third you book first and then like that, or
Right, right, right. So definitely, let's say if a stock has moved 15-20% kind of very quickly, right? बहुत जल्दी आपका move कर जाता है within a week, 1 week or 2-3 days, right? So that's definitely a 25-30% kind of a profit book there, definitely. So that's a definite situation for me. I'm not really good with a very long kind of a holding term, right? So
hmm,
मेरा focus होता है थोड़ा rotation पे. So I
hmm,
may
hmm.
book early profits, but I'll be moving on to the next stock. So
Okay,
वहाँ पे मेरा turnover थोड़ा उसमें ज़्यादा हो जाता है. Rest depends on the trend following kind of a rules.
thank you.
Okay, sure. So I guess we should wrap up the session, right? So I hope you enjoyed the session and you learned something new. If somebody has any question, they can raise their hand or they can tell me. Yes, Shivam, you can.
So I'm asking, would you enter any swings tomorrow? Because it might be quite volatile, I think, tomorrow or for a couple of days.
Right, right, right. So see again from here, let's say if I want to enter a stock, let's say as you said, ki, I'll be entering anything tomorrow, right? So again, if I want to take a risk or if I want to try a trade, so again this kind of a stock I would like to try जिसमें मेरा एक risk बहुत कम हो, प्लस या फिर आपका एक
Okay.
सेक्टर अच्छा चल रहा हो, like your
Okay, cement,
सीमेंट,
cements, right? Okay,
right?
okay.
सो जहाँ पे आपका रिस्क यहाँ पे बहुत कम हो या फिर सेक्टर अच्छा चल रहा हो या फिर यू गेट अ गैप अप लाइक दिस, लाइक आपका जैसे सुप्रिया लाइफ साइंसेज है,
Yes.
दैट वाज अगेन अ गुड गैप अप, राइट?
Earnings gap.
या अर्निंग्स गैप अप एज वेल, एंड उसने
Yes.
रीटेस्ट भी कर लिया उस गैप को. So
Yes.
this is again a good one key. Actually I've already entered this, but if I want to
Okay.
enter at this point also, this is also good because यहाँ पे मेरा risk बहुत limited है कि if the stock goes like this, that is a clear exit sign for me,
Okay.
right?
Okay. And one thing, I just
Yeah.
want to ask, can you open a chart of all e-technologies?
All e-technology. Wait a sec. This one, right?
Yeah. So it break out
Right.
like a week back, and now it pulled back on very low volume.
Right.
And now it's showing some strength. And
Right.
on a weekday, it was in green.
Right.
So is it a good setup, pullback setup or not?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, it's a good pullback setup because again, the stock has been repeating this behavior multiple times. First
Yes.
of all, stock ये इस behavior को multiple time repeat कर रहा है. Plus, here your risk is very low at this point.
Yes.
Let's say
Yes.
even if you enter, you keep the stop loss somewhere around the low. So that is again a 5% kind of a risk. Because you know अगर उसके नीचे जाता है तो there is a continuation of the downtrend. So
Yes.
it's better to exit at that point.
Okay.
प्लस इफ द मार्केट रिकवर जैसा कि होता आ रहा है फ्रॉम लास्ट फ्यू वीक्स की, एक
Yeah.
शेकआउट देता है मार्केट एंड उसके नेक्स्ट 1 वीक तक रिकवरी देता है, सो यू
Yes.
कैन इजीली गेट दिस काइंड ऑफ अ मूव देयर.
But I somehow think that the shakeouts has been, in last 1 month there have been three shakeouts.
या
It's
डेफिनेटली.
getting more and more volatile. So I
या
might think that we might pull to 50 MA.
राइट.
I think
राइट,
the
सो
time is
इट
coming.
पुल्ड टू 50 ma also twice earlier as well. That is again a
No,
possibility.
I'm not talking about this stock.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
not talking about
Overall
overall
market. Okay. Right.
Nifty small mid cap
Right,
400
right, right, right.
indexes.
Very high possibility of that happening.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
too have observed last week also we had a shakeout on 23rd, we had
yeah.
a shakeout on
Yes,
18th, I think so we had a shakeout.
yeah. And also net new highs are not that strong
Yeah, definitely.
from last one, from 20 December, I guess.
So like this is a given, right? So we have been a continuous bull run from March 2023. वहाँ से
Yes,
हमारा
yes,
recovery start हो गया था, and
yes.
since then continuously going up without any meaningful pullback.
Yep.
So even if you look at the period of 2017 जब आपका टॉप बना था मिड कैप्स में, you'll see
Yeah.
during the last few weeks there were many shakeouts.
Yes.
So again, so shakeouts में it's better to like वहाँ पे एक टाइप का इंश्योरेंस है आपका शेकआउट कि if you get out there your stop set,
Yes.
so it's like
It's
you'll avoid
it's
the
good for
downtrend.
swing traders, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
They can
definitely.
easily get out and limit their losses or keep their asset types.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. So any other questions or I'm wrapping it up? I'll upload the video on YouTube and on X also, I think so. So I guess I'll be wrapping up the session. I hope you all guys enjoyed the session, and bye bye, take care, good night.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, welcome, welcome,
Thanks for
welcome.
I entered late, but it was
एक
good. Nice.
एक और क्वेश्चन है मे बी
Sure,
सॉरी
sure, sure.
मतलब what I wanted to know, I have seen many Twitter like having many fan base following and all.
Right,
Only what they do is they share only good trade, right?
right,
Is it possible for you to show people like, okay, for me also it has happened, like stop loss is hit or
right, right, right,
I have drawn this much
right,
loss and also that will, I think maybe uh, many newcomers, whoever has come up,
right,
right?
right,
They
right,
will think
definitely.
like, okay, people with good technical skills also they have success rate something like 50%, but in 50% success rate only, if they are doing proper risk management, they are hardly uh, making losses. Instead, they are making more, right?
Right, 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 right. So I think so. You missed that tweet I posted. मेरा last year का stats kind of. So
Mm-hmm.
last year I took around 200 something trades. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So more than 50% were loss making.
Okay.
But the benefit there was कि जो आपका loss making trade हो रहा है वो
Mm.
आपका बहुत limited है.
Correct.
मीन्स आपका उसका साइज बहुत लिमिटेड है. बिकॉज अगेन आप अगर आपको कोई एक्यूरेसी बोल रहा है कि उसकी एक्यूरेसी अबव मोर देन 60-70%, सो इट्स डेफिनेटली लाइंग, because
Correct.
it's nearly impossible to get that kind of accuracy in technical analysis or the trading.
Exactly. Exactly. And people are making like selling courses
Right, right, right,
without showing that. I have seen your post, but maybe I would have not gone that in detail. I'll
right,
go through for sure.
right, right, sure, right. So उसके बाद लाइक आई शेयर्ड दिस पीएफसी ट्रेड, राइट, अभी रिसेंटली जो मैंने आपको बताया कि मेरा स्टॉप लॉस
Mm.
इसमें हिट हुआ,
Correct.
बिकॉज अगेन आई वाज होल्डिंग थ्रू द अर्निंग्स, राइट. सो
Mm.
वहां पे मेरा डेंजर हो गया. सेकंड थिंग जो मेरा थोड़ा एक बच गया फॉर लेट्स से दिस वाबाग, सो आई एंटर्ड अराउंड समवेयर हियर, बिकॉज अगेन
Mm.
यू सी आई एम डूइंग द सेम थिंग कि जब बेस ब्रेकआउट हो रहा है आपका, आई एम एंटरिंग देयर. सो वहां पे एक ऑर्डर विन हुआ था, गैप अप हुआ था उसके बाद, बट द गैप अप वाज नॉट दैट स्ट्रांग एंड अर्निंग्स के बाद थोड़ा नीचे भी आया, बट स्टिल
Mm.
मैं स्टॉप अराउंड समवेयर अराउंड दिस 660 समवेयर अराउंड. सो इफ
Mm.
उधर को जाता है देन इट्स गुड, इफ इट बाउंसेस बैक अगेन सो आई कैन ऑल्सो पिरामिड एज वेल, राइट. सो
Mm.
ये चीज चलती रहेगी, बिकॉज losing trade there are many losing trade, right. So if I have to remember names right now, let's say I
And
will,
how do you like maybe it is all about mindset.
right,
Like I have faced one scenarios where like I don't had profit cushion during
right,
result
right,
and result got bad.
right,
I got good loss.
right,
And then again recently I was holding one stock
right,
and I was expecting since industry it was from auto industry, so I
right,
thought
right,
like result will be good. So again I got ditched by the market.
right,
Now it has gone below 200, but
right.
I didn't sell it that day, maybe due to result reaction. I thought like maybe in panic and all
हाँ,
it is.
bias आपका थोड़ा, right,
So I am little biased because base was big.
right.
Maybe I can name you the stock. It is GNA Axel.
Okay,
So
Gene
base
Excel.
was big. So I was thinking like I think it should be good, but
Right, right, right. So
suddenly it is
yeah, so this is like a kind of a clear sell kind of a scenario, जहाँ पे
correct.
आपका
Correct.
थोड़ा अर्निंग्स भी बैड हो गया, ओवरऑल स्टॉक में कोई ट्रेंड भी नहीं है प्रॉपर, इट्स
Hmm.
जस्ट अराउंड द 200 मूविंग एवरेज.
Sir, I just bought because of this big monster candle was there, right?
Yeah,
And
this
then
one, this one, right,
consolidation around this, yeah.
right. See, the problem with such candles is that कि if you identify them too late, आपका
Hmm.
रिस्क रिवॉर्ड पूरा खराब हो जाता है उसमें,
Correct, exactly.
राइट. सो दैट्स वाई कि आपका एक स्कैनिंग का एक हेल्प करता है आपको कि यू विल एबल
Hmm.
टू आइडेंटिफाई फॉर द नेक्स्ट डे कि लेट्स से वी हैव दिस रेंज,
Hmm.
कि नाउ आई नो कि इफ द स्टॉक गोज अबव दिस रेंज कि मेरे को वहां पे एंट्री लेना है, दैट
Hmm.
गेट्स क्लियर बिकॉज ऑफ दैट.
Similar was for Sula also. So how do you like handle when such monstrous move comes, right? And then
Right,
it is consolidating. Now Sula has a result.
right,
Earnings is there.
right,
I think 13th it is.
right.
So
So let's say if you are already holding,
it's something like IRFC structure.
right,
I
right. सो एक आपका यहाँ पे क्या एक चीज दिख रही है आपको, एक स्ट्रक्चर ऑलरेडी वीक होता जा रहा है, राइट? बिकॉज
Mm-hmm.
स्टॉक गेव अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग मूव
Correct.
एंड वहां पे कंसोलिडेशन हो रहा है, मे बी यहाँ पे थोड़ा बेस बना देगा, लेट्स से समवेयर अराउंड ईयर, जहाँ पे इसमें लास्ट टाइम बाउंस
Mhm.
बैक आया,
Yeah, correct.
राइट? सो दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ आपका सपोर्ट रीजन बन जाता है।
Mm.
बट अगेन अगेन if a stock is just if a stock is breaking that area, that is a kind
Correct.
of a clear sell, because
Correct.
आप जब भी एक स्टॉक में एंटर करोगे यू विल
Mm.
हैव टू हैव एक सर्टेन पॉइंट की जहां पे आपको एक्सट्रीम सर्टेन पॉइंट की वहां पे मुझे सेल करना ही पड़ेगा,
Exactly. Exactly.
राइट?
Look, even I am holding this, so maybe tomorrow I'll just wait and watch. If
राइट
it is not moving, then I'll sell it because I don't have profit ka salary.
राइट राइट सी अगेन उसके बाद आपको एक और चीज को आपको रिकवर करना पड़ेगा कि लेट्स से कल को ये नीचे जाता है, परसों को अगर ये बाउंस बैक कर देता है वहां से,
Correct.
दैट
That
इज
is a
समथिंग।
shakeout.
Yeah, shakeout can also happen, but again those are your psychological struggles, जो
Exactly.
कि आप किसी परसेंटेज वाइज से या फिर आप एक रूल के साथ उस चीज को नहीं कर सकते ओवरकम।
Yeah, because see, Sula is a winemaking company,
राइट
and the result is for the new year, right?
राइट
November, December, January, like
राइट
that.
राइट
So that
या
is
सो
another biasing which
राइट
in the mind it comes.
राइट
But
राइट राइट
it
बट
should not
अगेन
be
समटाइम्स क्या होता है कि
discussed.
द स्टॉक हैज ऑलरेडी गिवन सच काइंड ऑफ अ मूव फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस बेस।
Already discounted.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, that is another possibility, so that is more of a psychological problem that
Exactly.
we'll have to overcome.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Welcome. So I guess I'll be wrapping it up, guys, and I'll upload the video. Okay. I hope you guys all enjoyed the show. Good night. Take care.
Thanks a lot.